Good evening. I'm your host, Justin Byers, and you're watching The Byers Guide. So here we are, 1 week into quarantine. As before, coronavirus is all that anybody's talking about. So here, I'm going to tell you about some things you didn't hear about this week. Or maybe you did, you weren't paying attention, maybe you don't give a shit. I don't know. Last episode, we talked about how Bernie and Biden were going to go at it at the debate on March 15th. So that happened, and it was just two of them, and it went about the way you would imagine that it would. Sanders taking shots at Biden for ways he's voted in the past on things, and pretty much trying to show that Biden isn't representative of the modern day Democratic Party based on some of the decisions he's made in the past, which, although is a solid effort on the Sanders side, the Democratic Party don't know what they want to be, so you can't really pin that on Biden. Biden kept himself pretty poised and, Biden-y. He got a little testy at times, at one point saying that people want results, not a revolution. I don't know that that's the case, but the DNC isn't ready to bring in somebody that wants a revolution. He did say, though, Joe Biden, that he would pick a female vice president. So called that one. I don't know if you've been watching, but I definitely said I feel like it'll be a woman or a person of color. But on the debate stage, he came right out and said that was his intentions. But he pretty much spent the whole time positing himself as the steadfast, reliable old Uncle Joe that can get us through this crazy time, with everybody losing their mind over coronavirus and such. Following that, Tuesday, there was three more major primaries, Florida, Illinois, and Arizona, and Biden swept it. Bernie's done, and Bernie's done forever now. I mean, Bernie is never going to be able to do this again, because now we're at 1,201 delegates versus Bernie's 896. It's mathematically impossible at this point for him to catch up, and it's kind of shown that the American people and Democratic Party as a whole just feel more comfortable with somebody like Joe Biden. So, we'll see what happens with that. Speaking of steady hands and tearing down socialism,
the administration says it wants to start sending out checks to Americans right away.
The Trump administration is pushing through to pass a bill that will put out over $500 billion to Americans as a stimulus package to try to help fight the economic downturn that comes with coronavirus. According to the plan so far, we're looking at $1,000 per person, $500 per child, and up to $3,000 for families of four or more. We'll see if this actually happens. It is getting bipartisan support, but there hasn't really been a lot of discussion on how this is going to be paid. So my thought is, when I'm 60 and what little Social Security thought I was going to get, when I get that $20 check, they're going to be like, hey, remember that time we saved you from coronavirus? This is it. Now we need to get paid. I mean, I guess a good idea. Secretary of the Treasury Steve Mnuchin said that 3-week time period on this rollout. If 6 weeks after that we're still in a national emergency, they're going to discuss putting out more money. So we'll see what happens. His direct quote is that the Americans need cash now.
Americans need cash now.
The president wants to give cash now.
And the president wants to get cash now.
I know who they should call.
Get long-term payments, but you need cash now.
J.G. Wentworth.
877 cash now.
And this whole idea of, throwing money out there is ironic because you got people like Bernie now and Andrew Yang, the billionaire who wanted to give people $1,000 a month over here, like, yo, this motherfucker's spitting. But, Trump's doing what he's got to do in this time. Interestingly enough, Minnesota Representative Ilhan Omar has given him some praise for this. She generally is one of his biggest critics in the House of Representatives. Quoted as saying that his response has been incredible. Politics aside, this is an incredible and right response in this critical time. So, I guess it's good to see some people in Washington coming together, despite the fact that they're sworn enemies. I think time will tell how well Trump's response to all this comes out. He said the other day that never has there been an instance like this where what you have is not enough, but we'll use everything. Except for that time that you had a whole pandemic response office in the National Security Council, but it's none of my business. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Stay tuned. The world's not ending, life is getting weird, for sure, but we just got to stick together. And actually, you know what? On that note, I'm throwing the script out because I want to talk to you directly. I want all of us, while we're quarantined, while we're dealing with this pandemic, to really think about what we're going to get out of this. Because at the end of the day, there's no point crying, whining, pissing and moaning about what's going on and how inconvenient it is, because it's happening. So the way we got to look at it from here on out is, what are we going to get out of this? How are we going to change and evolve as a people? Just the fact that we yeah, we're in quarantine now, but we've been quarantining ourselves for years, hiding behind our phones, our Facebooks, our Instagrams, not really socially interacting with people. And now that you physically can't do it, you start to realize how much that annoying aunt you miss, or, you know, the neighbor. But you know what? I opened my eyes, and although I kept 6 feet apart, I kind of talked to people for the first time in a while. And, you know, we got to take this as a moment to not take for granted what we actually have, you know, because now, just toilet paper. I mean, people freaked out and bought it all up. What happens if a real catastrophe hits? Because, you know, everybody's complaining about everything, but we're all still sitting in the comforts of our house, watching our Netflix and, you know, hating our kids because they're not in school. But, you know, what would everybody be doing if we really were in a moment where, you know, we don't have anything, like The Walking Dead? I mean, I know everybody watches that. Not everybody can be a Rick Grimes, or a Glenn for that matter. But we're here, and we're in it together. And let's come out of this with a different thought process, a different idea on how to do things. Let's actually appreciate one another. Let's just be cool. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. Because we will get through it. And that's what I'll leave you with tonight, America. I'm your host, Justin Byers. You've been watching The Buyer's Guide. Be cool. So here's something interesting. There's a Walmart in Springfield, Missouri, where a woman's water broke in, get this, the toilet paper aisle. She had warned the employees that her last child she gave birth to in just 30 minutes. So she ends up giving birth in the toilet paper aisle in the middle of this pandemic, when everybody's buying all this shit up, in a Walmart in Missouri at that. I feel like that kid deserves to be named either Angel, Sharman, or Scott.
She can get some free toilet paper. She get free toilet paper.
Yeah, but not Scott though. Don't get Scott toilet paper or name the kid Scott, because that's shitty.
That shit is rough.
You can't even get shit on that paper without it dissolving.